Welcome to the road to 1 million US dollars. Let's get right into the Bitcoin chart for today. Starting on this 1 day time frame, because Bitcoin is right now trading above the 0.236 Fibonacci level, sitting at 57.7K. So are we going to see that daily candle close back above this Fibonacci level and potentially start testing this Fibonacci level of resistance above that, the 0.382 Fibonacci level sitting at 60.4K? Because on this daily time frame here, we are still seeing that bullish divergence play out that I confirmed at about 53,000 US dollars in the Bitcoin price. And in the case that you are not familiar with a bullish divergence, typically it happens in a downtrend, and it means that we are getting a temporary break from that downtrend. So you will either see some choppy sideways price action, which is what we have been seeing so far, and sometimes you also see some bullish momentum, at least in the short term. So that is also still a possibility. And so long as this bullish divergence does not get invalidated, those are the two scenarios that I'm personally considering. And staying on this daily time frame here, I do want to give a fair warning signal that I have been talking about over the past week or so, since we were basically trading down here, because you have to consider this blue descending line of resistance where the Bitcoin price has been rejected from multiple times so far, and potentially, especially with a bullish daily candle like this, we could be coming in for another retest of this level. And I want to be very clear here. Typically, when you have more than 5 touch points with a trend line, the odds of it breaking that trend become higher and higher with every touch point. So here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. And are we now going to see, for example, tomorrow, touching that trend line once again to potentially break out of it? Now, one thing I want to share here as well is that, of course, right now it is a Friday. So let's say that maybe we close the daily candle somewhere here, and then we have Saturday here, Sunday here, and then on Monday will be the ultimate kind of test of this trend line potentially, because in weekends there's usually very low volatility, so we will likely just see some choppy sideways price action. And then on Monday we get the real answer, I guess, where we either get a big rejection down or we actually start breaking this trend line right here. So those are some scenarios that I'm considering for now. And taking a look at the support and resistance levels here for Bitcoin, you can see that right now we are trading above this big level of resistance, sitting from 58K all the way down to 56,000 US dollars. Although I do want to be clear that I still think that this is a level of resistance, so long as we do not get a daily candle close above this level. Even though we got these wicks above it right here on the daily time frame, we have not seen those daily candles close convincingly above this level, and therefore I still think it is completely possible that we get a rejection down from here. Now, in terms of resistance to the upside, we have this big level of resistance right here from 60,000 all the way up to 62.4K. And in terms of support to the downside, so in the case that we are breaking below this 56K level, then the next big level of resistance below that is sitting from 53K all the way down to 50,000 US dollars for the Bitcoin price. So you really do not want to see those daily candle closes below the 56K level. Now moving on to the Bitcoin liquidation heat maps, first of all on this 1 week time frame. And again, guys, we took out a massive level of liquidity to the downside, exactly like I warned about in yesterday's video, because we swept this liquidity to the upside right here. And I said that in the case that you see Bitcoin sweeping this level of liquidity right here, potentially you can then see a bounce from there to start aiming at that 60K level once again, because you do have all of that liquidity to the upside as well. And that is exactly what we saw today, because we swept this liquidity at 56.7K, took about $850 million worth of longs out of the market, and then got a little bit of a reversal back to the upside so far, sweeping this small pocket of liquidity right here. But most of the liquidity is still sitting to the upside at about 59.8K. Although, to be fair, there is also some downside liquidity left. sitting at about 56.6K. Now, what I personally do in situations like this, where I have liquidity to the upside and liquidity to the downside, I personally prefer relying more so on the technical analysis factors and things like that. But it is important to keep these levels in mind because, again, for example, if we sweep this level at 60K, then you need to start looking out for a potential reversal back to the downside in order to sweep all of this liquidity to the downside right here. And zooming out to this 3-month time frame, to be honest, this is still looking pretty bullish. We have a lot of liquidity to the upside, sitting as high as about 72.3K, still about $6 billion worth of people that are shorting the Bitcoin price, that will lose their money on their trade in the case that the Bitcoin price reaches this level. And typically the Bitcoin price gets attracted to where there is the most liquidity on this chart. And right now, on this time frame at least, most of the liquidity is sitting at 72.3K. And yes, I will keep beating this drum over and over again, guys, so long as we do not lose this level of support right here, currently sitting at about 55.6K, then I think it is completely possible that we go back to the top of the range, sitting at about 68.5K as of the time of recording. And if that happens, then we are likely going to take out all of this liquidity to the upside as well. However, first, you need to look out for a break of this descending trend line, this descending line of resistance, in order to really confirm that we are getting that potential reversal to the upside, because until then, you can just see another big rejection down from this descending line of resistance. Now moving on to the Bitcoin ETF flow tables for today. Yesterday, we got a net inflow of about $78 million. So again, another net inflow, although you can see that the momentum is weakening for these Bitcoin ETF investors. I think a lot of people are just waiting to see what is going to happen around this trend line, and breaking this downtrend would obviously flip a lot of people much more bullish. So I think people are starting to wait this out a little bit to see what is going to happen here. So for now, not really too much to say about these Bitcoin ETF inflows, although I am going to keep tracking this every single weekday whenever I get new data coming in. So if you do want to stay up to date with the crypto markets, then make sure to subscribe to my channel with notifications on so you get notified whenever I upload a new video. So this has been today's market update. Thank you very much for watching once again, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one.